Hey, Andrew.
Very cool to talk to you today. I have to start by asking, I know the creative process was long for this film, and you and Damien worked for a number of years researching and building out the music. Did you end up, once you had kind of a plan for the music early on, did you end up doing more work on the music during the production or post-production, or how did that end up working out?
It was about equal pre-production and post-production. Um, he sent me a draft of the script. We started kind of building as much of the architecture as we could at that stage. He storyboards, Damien also storyboards, literally thousands of pages of hand-drawn story stick figures, and then he makes animatics out of that. So I created about an hour of music at that stage to the script and to the storyboards before the movie was shot. Then we were on set. Then in post-production, there was about a year of post-production, and I had to make about another hour of music at that point, which is a very different job because at that point, I'm not working to the script. I get to watch the scenes, I get to watch the cuts, and I get to do what a film composer normally does, which is respond to what you're seeing and write things that sort of fit in with the pacing of the dialogue and all of that. So it was really about equal, an hour of music on either side of this project.
There's tons of music in this film. It's an amazing project in terms of scope. The other side of that is researching the past. I'm really curious about what your impressions were about researching that era of music to build out this sound, because you've got a great spin. That modernization of the old sound is just stunning.
Thank you. So I did not really do much research. Damien had been researching this for years, and I just sort of relied on some of the ideas that he had come across. And so one of the ideas that he found that I thought was really inspiring was the idea that the music we think of as 20s music or 20s jazz, we think of that because we've heard it, because it was recorded. But the music that was recorded in the 20s was actually just a sliver of what was actually being played at the time. Recording was a new technology. Very few people had access to it. So Damien had come across these oral histories and accounts of wild parties and underground clubs and music scenes that were a lot more interesting and a lot crazier than what we think of as that kind of cute, quaint Charleston 20s swing jazz. So we got to sort of imagine, what could that, we've never heard it because it wasn't recorded, but what could some of that underground music have been? So that was one of the ideas from his research that I thought was really inspiring. And other than that, like you say, we were deliberately trying to stay away. We were trying to modernize it a lot. We were using sometimes the lineup of a 20s band, but the style of the writing is a lot more rock and roll in some cases. A lot of these pieces are built around riffs. These are sort of driving riffs that you could imagine played on an electric guitar, but in our case, it's played by horns in a band. There are a lot of also modern dance music influences, EDM influences, the way we have risers, building the way you might have an electronic riser in dance music, but here we use horns, we use saxophones and trumpets to kind of rise, and then throw us into a section where there might, a beat might drop or something might drop to give us that feeling you get in dance music where you just want to move. So we were very much inspired by more modern music in a lot of cases, but using the instrumentation that was, realistic for the time.
Well, I think it's such an inspiration that you took an old song that most people wouldn't know was an old song, but "My Girl's Pussy" is really relevant to this whole story of music in this film.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing that you got to rejig the music for that too, or redo the music, I should say.
Yeah, so that's a track again Damien had come across in his research, and it's apparently they were really into sort of dirty songs back then. It was a whole genre, like sexual innuendo songs was the whole genre. But it was different. The original song musically was completely different. It was a lot jauntier, it was a lot more fun and sillier. It was, "Ba-ba-dib-ba-dib-ba-dib, my girl's pussy." And we wanted something that was like more slower and more sultry, where she could really, Lee Jun Lee's character, Lady Faye, could really kind of tease the room. So we used the lyrics of the original song, wrote a couple new words to it, but it's basically the original lyric. And then I wrote music that was a lot more, sultry, like I said. So that was kind of a fun piece of music to put together.
Well, it all works incredibly well. It's very impressive. I listened to the entire score yesterday, and it's astonishing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Good talking with you.